Hello. God, I hope this works now. Do y'all hear me? I hope so. Oh my gosh. I don't know if he's gonna catch this or come back from the other stream I was just on. But man, that was frustrating. I might just have to call it a night, y'all. My stream just died. That's freaking sucks. Well, hey, some people are popping on. It looks like done. Yeah, what's up, Jesse? Hi, what's up? Yeah, there was. It wasn't the government. It wasn't the Men in Black trying to censor me. That's crazy. Why would anybody say that? You guys are just sitting there laughing at me, just like, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you. I took a big L. Yeah, man, that took a lot longer for me to recognize than it should have. And what sucks is you guys had left comments, and now I don't know what you were asking, which sucks. So I can't answer. I can't answer any of those questions. I'm sorry, unless you guys want to copy paste or write them again. Man, that was. I don't know what happened. It's real life, so I don't have a redundant system. So this whole show has a pretty shoestring budget. So. Oh man. Okay. So done. Absolutely. Let me. Unless the internet doesn't like this, they're trying to keep me from telling you the truth, which is, they've got little implants in their. I'm just kidding, guys. I hit the mute. So yes, I don't think in terms of tricks. A couple things. You can't just go, hey, I'm going to do 3 tricks, because of course it's real life. And if you're like working a restaurant or something, it's going to be different. Okay. It's going to be different every single time and every single night. And what nights you're working, and if there's some reason there's a rush or it's really slow or whatever. So you need to really just be reacting to the situation. Sometimes 2 tricks is going to be the right amount. Sometimes it's going to be 6 tricks. 3 to 4 is about right. But it's hard to say. If you have 6 or 7 tables who are waiting to see you before they leave, and the restaurant's got to turn over those tables, then you've got to get from table to table to table to table as fast as you can, because otherwise you're going to be slowing down the restaurant now, because people are trying to figure out ways to hang out and wait, and you can create a wait for that, which might be your goal. I don't know, but I would never try to do that or try to slow down the restaurant intentionally. You're there to make things run easier. So yeah, 3, 4, sometimes maybe all the way up to 6 tricks, depending on how busy they are and how busy you are. But don't think in terms of that. Think in terms of how much time do I have? If you think about if you have 6 tables waiting for you and you spend 5 minutes at each table, it's going to take 30 minutes before the last table gets to see you. That's a long time, especially at dinner time in a busy restaurant. Think about that. You need to be really planning your time effectively to make sure that everyone gets to see you. Just reactionary experience is going to be the only way to teach you. Pro tip about that is, if you're working at a restaurant where people can see, if diners can see each other, something you do want to think about doing is having, a couple of different effects with you that you can alternate. So that way, like if you have one table that's rubbernecking and seeing what you're doing at the other table, you don't want to then go to the table that was rubbernecking and do the same tricks, because they saw them already, right? So it's good to be able to alternate like 2 or 3 sets during the night, so that way nobody's having got like a little glimpse at the surprise ending before you get to their table. That wouldn't be cool. The other thing is, if you're working in a restaurant a lot, in most normal restaurants, you're going to want to have 6 or 8 different routines that you're going to do differently every week. Every week, you're going to rotate that out. And the reason for that is if you have patrons that come in and see you all the time and bring their family and their friends to come and see you too, you don't want to be doing the same tricks you did last week. You're going to very quickly bore people and outwear your welcome as the resident magician who does the same 4 tricks every single week. Nobody's going to want to come see that. So your repertoire is going to have to grow and evolve and change, and you're going to constantly have to be switching things up, which is good because it forces you to grow as a magician. So you should be doing that. It's a fabulous way to make it happen. That's not true of everywhere though. Like if you work in like a touristy spot, where people only go there once a year and it's just full of a lot of tourists, or like Disneyland. So you're a magician at Disneyland, you can do the same effects every day at Disneyland because it's always a new crowd. People may only go there once a year or maybe once every 10 years or whatever. You can do the same effects and you can get away with doing that. If you're a traveling show, you can do the same effects because that audience will always be new. If you have an audience of people or patrons that come in all the time, got to switch it out. Thank you. So yes, to answer that, again, it's going to have to depend on how much time you got. If you're coming in, a really busy restaurant, and there is a whole bunch of people there waiting to see if you got like backed up 6, 7, 8 tables that are all requesting you. You're going to have to adjust how much time you can spend at each table. That doesn't mean appear rushed to the table you're working with. You don't want to say, hey, yeah, here's your, look, now get the heck out of my restaurant. You don't want to be doing that. But you do, you want to make sure that they're having a good time. You're doing some good solid material, but then you need to, and then go to the next place. There's not a time to stop and have a conversation about your kids and all that kind of stuff. You've got to get to the next table. Think about if you spend just 5 minutes at each table and you have 6 other tables wanting to see you, it could be like 30, 35 minutes before you can get to that last table. And guess what? That will keep going throughout the entire night and you will always be playing catch up. So, if you only got a 2-hour gig there, you're going to be just chasing after yourself, making sure that everybody got to see something. You don't want to be the selling point of doing magic in the restaurant and making sure the patrons are having a good time. Someone comes to see you, specifically to see you, and then doesn't get to. So you have to make sure that you are getting to all the tables who requested to see you. Okay. So that will adjust, and you'll have to do that on the fly and go, I really don't got time to be sitting here and doing my, 17 phase ambitious card and then the Gazinta box at the end with the, you don't have time for that. So you got to be like, hey, here's some really hard hitting stuff. Here's my A material. Boom, boom, boom. It's amazing. Poof. And then go to the next table. Okay, thank you guys. It's been great. Have a nice evening. Thanks for coming in. Come sit back and see me next week. Bring your friends. Boom. Next table. And you just got to keep doing that. So busy nights are that way. Sometimes you have a really slow night where you can take the time and you can spend more time with the patrons, and that's always great too. You can get to know about them and spend more time. But sometimes you just have to be almost transactional, and it's unfortunate. But you're doing a service to the restaurant, and your selling point is there's quite a few selling points with magic, but one of them is that patrons that are going to want to come and see you perform and eat dinner at their restaurant. So, got to make sure everybody sees something. Yeah, I noticed you're here now. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Oh, that feels good. So, yeah, man. Here's the thing: is I have this really great subscriber that you guys, if you don't know about him yet, his name's Roth Games with a Z. Roth Games. He's a great dude, and he's been blowing up with some of his material. I want to point you guys over to him. If you guys are gamers at all, I would recommend you go see him. I'll type in his thing here. That's his name on YouTube. Go check out his stuff. He's got some really cool stuff. He's been blowing it up. I really need his advice about how to grow my channel. It's really tough because not as many people are looking for magic as they are like gaming videos and that kind of stuff and technology videos. And then I talk about weird stuff on there, which is not like, it's not always tutorials. So I have a lot harder time ranking, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So hopefully I can build this out and share this with more people. But right now, the only way that I know to do that is to ask you guys to, throw those thumbs up buttons on there, keep engaging with me on in the comments, and showing up for these live streams. And then if you get any value out of this, if you have any magician friends, share it with them. It really helps a whole lot. You have no idea. Like, most of this is, I mean, I'm not paying for advertising or anything. The only thing I have is collaborations with Scam Nation and just coming back every week and being ready to just go at it again. So I appreciate all of you guys. Help me get this message out to as many people as I possibly can. I want to help everyone that I possibly can. I want this to be my legacy. Great. So the Facebook group is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. I'm making the Facebook group. It's going to happen. I'm going to work on that. Probably not tomorrow, but maybe Sunday. Then I'll have something for you guys. Check out. The way I communicate with everybody. If you're new here, or if you haven't seen yet, I communicate with the community page on my YouTube channel. That's where I send out a lot of stuff, a lot of updates, a lot of reminders, all that kind of stuff. You'll get them if you are subscribed and hitting the bell icon. That way you're notified of all those things. If you're not, you're missing all of that. But that's where I'm communicating with everybody right now. Whenever I have a Facebook group, that is where I will post that I have created it and where you can come and join. So make sure, if you're not subscribed, hit the bell icon. That way you get all that information if you're wanting to be part of the Facebook group. But thank you guys. Thanks for the feedback on that. Any chance of me filming in a restaurant? It's always a possibility. It probably would not be one of the ones that I regularly perform in. There's not a lot of reason for my clients to want to let me do that. But that's just not to say it's not impossible. That it's impossible. It would be as easy as me going and asking a restaurant, "Hey, what if blah blah blah?" I just have to find somebody who's going to say yes. So it's not impossible. It could happen. I'm still working on some solutions for being able to film myself performing from my perspective without a helper, which looks like it's probably going to be some kind of spy glasses or a pen or something, and just let people know, "Hey, look, is it cool to record you? I got a thing here. I'm doing it for YouTube channel, whatever." But I think probably where most of it's going to happen is probably going to end up happening on the street or in prearranged circumstances with a venue that I have the blessing of. I would love to get just raw me performing. In fact, I got a little bit of that. I alluded to an email that I got the other night that I'm going to be doing a whole video on. And in that video, there's a few clips of me performing live in a restaurant for a group of people. So you'll kind of get to see that, but not all of the stuff that I'd necessarily want you to see. There's a lot of more instructional stuff. This is more just interaction performance kind of stuff, but not super educational. Hit the bell, please hit the bell. There's what's amazing is I have so many people coming to my channel who watch it, but are not subscribed. Like 54% of the people who watch my channel aren't subscribed and haven't hit the bell icon. That's crazy to me. Like, you guys are coming back, you're watching the videos, you like them, you guys get tons of engagement on my videos, but you're not subscribed yet. Subscribe. It's not hard. Hit the button, and then the bell. So that way, hey, I announce when I'm doing live streams. I announce whenever. In fact, you guys are probably the ones who have hit the bell because you're here for the live stream. You know what's happening. You show up. But it just lets me stay in better contact with you. I'm not super spammy, and I just let you know when something things happen, happening, or I will give little sneak peek updates that you won't get anywhere else but the community page, and then I guess eventually it'll be the Facebook page. You guys get little sneak previews of what's coming out, and that's why some people know about the Diamond Jim interview that's coming out next week. Hit the bell icon. Hit the bell icon. Boom. Hey, Bob Haas. Yeah, so congratulations on your brand new invisible deck. That's the first trick that I fooled my dad with. I felt super good. I worked so hard at trying to fool my dad. It was kind of like one of those metrics, like if I can just if I was impressive enough to fool my dad, then I'm really a magician, that it's good enough to show to somebody else. And my dad was tough, a very smart man, and saw through a lot of my clever ruses. Um, Visible Deck's awesome. Uh, a very light touch, or if your hands are slightly sticky, what you can do is you can even do that pinch, like you hold like a. Hold on. You know how your fingers will kind of like stick to something. These are too heavy, but your fingers will stick for a second as they're separating. They'll stick to the objects like the cards or whatever. Try lifting and then sliding over at the same time. Lift and separate. Lift and separate. Lift and I'm not describing this well, but yeah, getting a little bit of tack, and then as the cards are kind of pulled apart by the adhesion to your fingertips, then quickly move over. That's something you can do. That, or you got, I don't know who made your invisible deck, but it sounds like they used way too much roughing fluid if you're having that much of a hard time. Something you might do is also experiment with making your own invisible deck, which maybe we've been talking about doing DIY projects. I don't know if that's something that's okay for me to teach, though. If I don't teach it, there's plenty of other people on YouTube that show it. So I'll just sit here with my moral dilemma while you learn it somewhere else. But it's probably too much roughing fluid. They probably just want a little heavy on it. You want to have to press down to keep the cards together, and then they separate easily at a light touch. I'm not sure. Maybe just got a little heavy-handed when they made them. Something you can do is you can take the cards in one at a time and just kind of rub them on each other like that, to kind of smooth them down a little bit. That might help. Don't know, might ruin your invisible deck. So it's up to you whether you want to try it, but might help. All right, Justin. Let me take this all in, brother. Say a potential customer calls you about doing a birthday party. After some formalities, asks, "So what kind of stuff do you do?" After describing what you do, depending on the situation, you ask, "Would you like to see?" If I'm understanding you correctly, Justin, what you're asking me is what kind of magic I would do over the phone? Is that the question? To land a gig? Well, okay, so yes, you can definitely do that. You should do that, but I would only go through the effort if the gig was something that I really wanted to land. If it was worth a really big amount of money for a kid's birthday party, I honestly probably wouldn't go through the effort and cost associated with doing that, because you're going to have to mail out like a deck of cards or something for them. In fact, I should probably turn you on to Jay Sankey. He has a YouTube channel here on YouTube. He's a fabulous magician. I have admired him for years. He is very creative. He does some really creative, interesting magic that you won't see anywhere else. And I use a lot of his magic in my own repertoire. Now, Jay has a trick that he talks about with I don't want, it's not his trick, but I don't want to tell too much, because you guys can go over to his channel and see it. I'd rather you did that. Just if it is, what the effect looks like is, it looks like you go, hey, cut the deck wherever you mail a deck, you mail a shuffled deck of cards to a client. Say, don't open until I call you, blah, blah, blah. You call them. You say, hey, look, I want you to open that, take those cards out, give them a cut, give them another cut, give them as many cuts as you'd like. Think about one of those cards. You're thinking of the 7 of diamonds, right? Or whatever it is, whatever card they're thinking of. And it looks like that and it reads like that to the spectator. It's ridiculous. You're like reading their mind over the phone. And it's really, 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 really easy to do. But you do have to mail a deck of cards. A deck of cards is £1/4 pound. If a kid's birthday party is like, you could probably get about $250, $300 for that, at least in my market. A little more if you're a well-known magician, but that's about what you get for a kid's birthday party here in North Texas. We got to remember, you got to take taxes out of that. You may have other overhead costs. You may have fuel, all these kinds of things to take into consideration. That dwindles down your actual take home every single time. So you're mailing a deck of cards out. On top of that, to land a kid's birthday party, it's really not worth it. Now, if you're doing like a show for $2,000, $5,000, somewhere around there, yeah, it makes sense to mail this card out. You're going to, it might cost you like $7 to mail those out or something, but then it's worth it because this is a bigger, higher paying client that hopefully will use you several times. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. The one that Jay shows, you actually mail a deck of cards to them, and they're not gimmicked or anything, but you just mail a deck of cards to whoever it is you want to do the trick for, and then it's not mathematical. It's much more straightforward than that. You don't have to worry about them counting so many cards down or cutting the deck so many times. They look at the cards, and you can tell them over the phone what card they're looking at or thinking of. It's nearly that perfect. It's really good. It's free. He teaches you how to do it on his channel for free. Go watch it. It's great. My favorite over the phone trick. That's hard to say because I don't do a lot of magic over the phone. I'll tell you honestly, and I know a lot of people get a lot of value out of this, but I don't like those. I don't like the tricks where you have to call someone and then you go, oh yes, my friend is a swami and he knows what card you're thinking of. Let me call him and he will divine your card and tell you what card you're thinking of. I never liked that. And the reason is it took all the magic that was taking place and put it somewhere else. It's your show, and you're going to call some person that's going to do all the magic for you. Like, it's your show. They came to see your magic show, not to see you call somebody. Like, then why isn't he here? We'll just send the magician home if he's just a well-connected guy. That's great and everything, but send the guy out who can like tell the future and read minds. That's the guy I want to see, not the friend of the guy that does that. So I hate those tricks. I'm sure some people use them to great effect. I don't like them. Yeah, it's like, who wants to, I've said it. Yeah, you guys, you mean what I know. Y'all, you guys are my favorite. But it's about 11:30 and I've got some other stuff to do here tonight to wrap up before some family stuff going on tomorrow. So I am going to call it a night here. Thank you guys for coming back and seeing me after the great Coca-Cola debacle of January 17, 2020. Appreciate you guys being here. It's always a blast to hang out with you. Stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, the bell icon, hit that like button. That helps me out a lot to get this video out to more people. And I will see you all Thursday with Diamond Jim's. Well, you'll see Diamond Jim next Thursday, but you get what I mean. All right. See you guys. See y'all soon.